All right, we are live. This is Epic Sketch Time for October 4th, 2016. My name is James Stowe. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator. I make a little web comic called Sidekick Quests. You can read it Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at sidekickquest.com. And tonight I am joined by two other cartoonists and hopefully two more cartoonists after that, but they have not yet arrived. Gentlemen, could you please introduce yourselves?
My name is Mark Monlux. I too am a freelance illustrator, and I've been working since 1985 full time. I got a couple web comics. One's called The Comic Critic, where I do cartoon reviews of movies, and another one is called The Return of Stickman. Tonight I am drawing once again movies from monsters from horror movies.
My name is Pat McEwen. I do a comic called The Devil and Mr. Gandhi. You can find it at devilandgandhi.com. And tonight I'll be working on a kind of humorous document that will be part of my issue number 3 pre-order package, which will be up in the near future.
All right, great. And tonight I'm just going to be working on some Kickstarter stuff for my comic that I am finally getting a chance to work on after months and months and months. And we are all missing the vice presidential debate. Or it's over. I'm not sure which. I have decided to stop paying attention. It was driving me crazy.
What's driving me crazy is for some reason I have this purple line going around my monster that's interfering with this gradation I have. I gotta figure out on which layer I messed up on that, because that shouldn't be happening. I'm curious to know how you guys are planning on, this is the wonderful month of October. Are you doing any preparations with your children for what you'll be doing on Halloween?
I am indeed. We're all doing a family costume this year. We are going as the characters from Bob's Burgers. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but it is a very clever show.
I'm a fan of Bob's Burgers.
So I am going to be Bob.
Hey Jim, not to interrupt your story, but it looks like Brett is having some issues joining in.
Should I send him?
Yeah, he just sent a tweet saying, "How do I join in?"
All right, I'm sending him a new invite. And then the school I live in does a haunted house every year. Trying to be helping out with that as well.
For those who are not familiar, Stowe lives at the Annie Wright, which basically looks like Hogwarts.
Yes, it's a private school, all girls private school. My wife works as part of the boarding program, so we live in the school itself.
Hey there. Guys?
Hello.
Oh, great, you got in. Excellent.
Yep.
I'm not sure why you didn't get the first invite. I apologize.
That's okay. It's not an epic sketch time if something doesn't go wrong first.
Right?
So we were all talking about preparations we were going to be doing with our families for Halloween.
And I'm guessing I'm the last one.
Well, I'm not doing anything because nothing ever happens on my street and I don't have any kids. As much as I would love to celebrate Halloween, my house is too spooky to approach from the street. It's too busy of a street. It's not well lit. In the entire 24 years I've lived here, I've only had 6 trick-or-treaters.
You should just dress up as a scary clown.
Oh, man, did you hear that on the news today?
I did. Yeah, I had to actually have a talk with my children about how they should not approach people dressed as clowns. I didn't expect to do that today.
There were a number of schools in the Northwest that had clown mask incidents.
Yeah, I've seen that stuff on.
There was a grocery store right next to my son's middle school that had a clown visitor today.
Oh, lovely.
Yep. And my son often walks by that particular. He's like, why don't they? My son was like, why don't they dress something as something scary, like a zombie or something? I'm like, son, if people dress up like zombies and shambled around neighborhoods, they would get shot. People would just shoot them.
Exactly. Especially if you end up in some of the rural parts.
So this weekend, I went and watched The Magnificent Seven with my father and brothers. Well, most of my brothers. And we were trying to figure out the last time we had all actually seen a movie together.
Was it the original Magnificent Seven?
No, it was the Cowboys with John Wayne. At
Oh
least,
wow.
but it might be, you know, we would also go. It might have been a Mel Brooks film. It might have been. I think we all saw a silent movie together, but I think that the Cowboy was one of the ones that my entire family went to go see. Which is, a bit of a production. There's, 6 kids, 2 parents.
I don't even know if I am familiar with that particular movie.
The Cowboys or silent movie?
Yes,
Silent.
the Cowboys.
Oh, the Cowboys is a great Western. But you have told me more than once that you are just not into Westerns.
I do not like Westerns. No, I do not enjoy them.
This particular Western, I'm hard pressed to give it more than a 6. I'm going to give it a 7 since I saw it with my family. But it
Who's in it?
Denzel Washington.
Oh,
Let's see, the guy that's in every other movie. He was in Jurassic World. He was in Guardian of the Galaxy.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
okay. Chris Pratt's been in like 2 movies. Now 3 movies.
It seems like he's always popping up. He sort of like has become the Gene Hackman of movies. He just remember the time in the 70s and 80s where there just wasn't a movie that didn't have Gene Hackman in it.
You have got to realize your audience right now. In the 70s, I was very young. And I think I am the next oldest person in this podcast.
Okay, in the 80s.
Yeah. I only know of it because of his Mel Brooks ties and Willy Wonka and everything, but
Wait,
No,
You're
dude, that's not
Wilder or
Hackman.
Gene Hackman? Gene Hackman is a completely different dude. Gene Hackman is Luthor
from the original
the
Superman.
Christopher Reeves Superman.
yeah, see? Too young.
Yep. See? Told you, Mark.
Oh my god. It makes me
Now, if
feel
you were
so
to say, let me think, who has recently been in everything? I can't think of an it actor who is in everything and then just all of a sudden not in anything anymore.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, didn't he implode? Like he was just couldn't take the stress. But you're right. He was in everything for a while. Oh, speaking of Greg Kinnear's in everything for a little bit, and then just not in. Huh?
Who was in everything?
Greg Kinnear,
Yep.
which is a very strange guy to be in everything and then just disappear. I mean, the disappearing part isn't all that strange. Being in everything part, certainly strange. I wonder what happened to that guy. So Bill was, clamoring on whether or not to do this, and then he's not here.
Well, maybe he's trying to get in and left you a message on Google. Did you just check to see?
I don't see any. I'll send him another invite.
Because he was looking forward to it. What is the theme for tomorrow's Drawloween? Does anyone know?
It is. I have it right here.
Yeah, me too.
Better gnomes and goblins.
Ooh, say
And
what?
better gnomes and goblins. And then Inktober is sad.
Could you flip back to Better Notes and Goblins? Better.
Better gnomes. Gnomes
Oh,
and
Better
goblins.
Gnomes and Goblins. Okay. I'm wondering if you saw my Squid in Love with the Sub.
I did. It was good. I just posted me and the kids. I really enjoy we take about a half an hour. We all draw together with actual pens. It's crazy. I don't know how you people do it all the time with the real pens and stuff.
Yeah, I actually ventured out to an art store in downtown today because I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get myself something a little bit better than a Sharpie and, a couple dozen sketch cards. So.
Nice. Yeah, I'm still just using a Sharpie. That's all. That's all I can muster.
Plus, it gave me an excuse to get out of the apartment, so. But yeah, I ended up stocking up on enough sketch cards to get me through Inktober and picked up 2 fancy art markers or
Nice.
something. A Micron and a Prismacolor. Don't really know how good they are. I just know that the lady convinced me working there. So, but they were like $3, so it wasn't exactly a.
No, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
My guess is if they were $3, they're not great.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not, top of the line, but they're better. They're more quote unquote professional than a Sharpie.
Right.
So I'm switching back to live mode. I'm going to show you something that came in the mail today. Can any of you guess what this thing is?
The adjustable clippy thing.
Well, you're fairly close. It does have a clamp that you put on to the shelf or the edge of your table, so I'm going to do that here.
And
then this part here, of course, you can adjust that wire however you want. And this is adjustable. So let's say you want to do a little short movie using your phone of your drawing. You can just put your phone in the clamp like this, and then put that over your drawing surface. And then once it stops wiggling, you can draw your little video. I saw this for sale on Facebook. They're asking $12, and I figured it was one of those things where there are these people that will buy stuff online, but they won't even go to their store. They will then resell it to another person at a markup. But because they're doing the advertising better, they're getting like 3 times as much money. In this situation, these people are selling them for like $12 on Facebook. But I found the source location, and I paid $4 for this, with no shipping. I mean, how can you resist?
Yeah. Right. How could you possibly resist that cool clippy thing? The fact that you went through all that trouble.
But it wasn't trouble. It was like 1 minute of searching.
Hmm. You should reward marketers. It's their job. It's what they do. As a former marketer,
Well, there's actually a name for it, for people who take that and mark stuff up, but it actually damages the people that are selling the items in the first place. But I'm just thinking, if you're selling that item in the first place and you don't have the wherewithal to market on Facebook,
well, maybe you are just a wholesaler. Although you're clearly not, if you can buy it, if somebody off the internet can just find you and buy it.
these people are just.
I don't know why I'm defending people, but
And the thing is, there's absolutely no law against it. Lots of people are doing it. There are people who are
yeah,
making.
why would there be a law? With Pat's comics every time I get one.
What?
Oh, what? No, it's not true. I keep them in a special place. And then the pins, I pin to stuff.
Oh, Bill Morse just texted me. Going on after a company errors with the new plugin, all I get is a black screen when I click on the invite.
Oh, weird.
Maybe you should resend him the invite.
Okay.
I'll text him back and
This
let
would
him
be
know that you're
the
resending.
third invite to Bill.
And you should make that duly noted when he actually gets in here.
So, Stowe, how easy was putting this together tonight?
Pretty easy, although it doesn't give me the same promotion options as just doing it on uh, Google Plus did in the past. Like you can't you can toggle the button that says yes, send it to your followers, and you can even do that with Twitter too. And I did with both, but I don't think it sent out prior warning of the events at all. Did any of you see it
I only saw
before
it.
you got the invite?
No,
Oh.
I didn't see anything until I got the invite.
I mean, I did.
I saw that you sent out
Right.
a Twitter saying that we were going to be doing it tonight.
Right, but not anything generated by the event itself.
No, not
I-
here.
Yeah,
I saw
that's
it
the
on-
thing. That's the part I need to figure out.
I saw it on Google Plus before I got in.
Oh, good. That's good.
That's actually why I was like, hey, why didn't I get an invite?
Hello, Bill.
Hey, there you go.
Oh God, you wouldn't believe the afternoon I've having. I was reinstalling the. I was installing the new operating system. It took forever, and on top of that, I had to re-up a lot of plugins, which included this one.
Wasn't necessarily Graham. It was all on your end.
Yeah, I mean, yes, the your first invite came about. I got your first email about 5 minutes after the fact, and then I was wrestling with installing the plugin for another 10. And then the invite only gave me a blank screen.
Hmm.
So, Bill, did you know about the Washington State Lawyers for the Arts 40th anniversary gala dinner that they're having on this Thursday?
Oh,
It's going to be at the Columbia Tower Club.
wow.
I would go, but I got this situation with my wife where I can't leave and get out of town in time. Anyway, one of my friends, Ann, is going to be doing a graphic recording of the event.
Uh-huh.
So she's been involved with that group for a long time.
Yeah.
For those of you across the country, if you have a legal problem in the arts and you don't have money to get yourself a lawyer, or you need some free advice, contact the name of your state lawyer for the arts, and there's usually one in each state that can help you out. And the Washington Lawyer for the Arts, like I said, has been around for about 40 years.
They're doing a what tomorrow?
It's a big anniversary gala event. I don't know if it's a dinner or if it's just hors d'oeuvres. It's sort of like $40 at the door, that type of thing. But it's at the top of the Columbia Tower Club, which is in the Columbia Tower is the largest, or pardon me, tallest building in Seattle. It's got a tremendous view.
Yeah, one time I looked down at an eagle soaring.
Oh, wow.
One time a blimp went by and they were at eye level. So it's a pretty tall building. There's a woman's bathroom on the top floor that the stall is nothing but a window going out to nothing.
I am not even going to ask how you know that.
Well, girls talk. Yes.
Right. That's it exactly.
It's 8 o'clock.
Thank you for that, Bill. I had no idea that was 8 o'clock. So I have not really kept up with most of the horror films from within the last, I would say, 10 years. And I've been trying to keep up with a lot of them. But most of the ones I've been watching have been overseas, really scary things like the Japanese Audition.
Ugh.
And, I was kind of curious if there were any recommendations that you folks might have.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of thinking about that myself. I'm sort of trying to decide what I'll pick up tomorrow.
I just watched, because it was free on Hulu, The Scout's Guide to the Apocalypse.
Oh, it's on Hulu?
It is for free, yeah. And it's a pretty tongue-in-cheek zombie film. It was not horrendously terrible.
Mildly terrible?
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't by any stretch of the imagination good. Also not bad. So there you go.
I like all these qualifiers you're using for it.
Well, I mean, it is in and of itself. I mean, horror zombie movies are not good. They're generally not a fine quality of cinema.
Mm-hmm.
But this is definitely on the low end of that.
Or would you say it's a step above zombie strippers?
Yes, but only slightly a step above that. There is
Wow.
a scene involving a trampoline and a zombie's private parts, which is it
Oh,
stretches
please, no spoilers.
the plausibility. That's all I'm gonna say. But I
I
enjoyed
did,
it.
I did see a zombie film last year called Cooties,
Oh, I want to see Cooties. I was
and
waiting
it's
for
got
Cooties to
Daniel
come out.
Radcliffe in it.
Yeah, I was waiting for it to come out in the theater, and I never saw it actually come out.
It came and went really fast. Much
Yeah, it
like
must have. Did you see it in the theater?
no, I ended up seeing it on DVD.
Is it good?
I would say it's probably going to be right there in there with Scout's Guide to the Apocalypse.
All right, all right.
But I love the
Because it
premise.
had some.
I love the
It had
premise
some pretty
that it's
amazing.
on a playground and it's the little children that start spreading. It's the children that become the zombies, and that if you're past puberty, you don't get infected. But there's a lot of little kid zombies, and just all the violence that's being done against the little children. I was really in heaven for a while there, as you can imagine. Still,
But so, do you recommend it?
oh, I think you would have a blast with it.
Because I've wanted to see it. That is definitely one of the movies that I've wanted to see for a while.
The nice thing about getting it on DVD was you got to see the alternate ending.
Oh, yeah. I prefer my horror to be that kind of level. So I don't really enjoy like The Purge and
I
torture
haven't seen
porny.
the Purge yet. That's one I need to put on. There's what, like 3 Purge movies now?
There's too many Purge movies. I just saw on the internet there's going to be a Purge TV show because that's what the world needs.
Oh, they're going to be doing a TV show of the vampire documentary.
Oh yes, the thing we do in Shadows. I love that movie.
Oh yeah, that was on. I watched that last. As part of my selection this week. I was doing vampire comedies.
Ah, that now, and you liked it?
Yes, and then
Yes,
I saw it
absolutely
back.
adore that movie.
Yeah,
I only gave it a
no, I mean,
I don't, as a rule, generally buy film. I don't buy movies. I bought that movie.
You bought that movie.
I did, yeah, and I would buy it again. Well, everybody just got really quiet.
yeah.
I'm an epic sketch time where we all just draw.
When you're not having technical difficulties.
There's never a time in epic sketch time where that is true. All right, so Luke Cage, has everyone seen that?
I'm up to episode 10.
I haven't even
Is that
started watching.
safe to talk about yet?
I'm in
Not
the
safe
middle of
to talk
episode
about yet?
10.
No, not safe to talk about yet.
I loved it. It was so good.
You've seen all the episodes already. You've been.
I have, yeah. But I'll wait. I'll wait to talk about it till next week. But yeah, till next week.
Yeah, good. Put a deadline on it.
I would definitely say it was my favorite of the 3 Netflix Marvel shows.
I just got through watching the 3 seasons of The Penny Dreadful.
Oh God, I couldn't get through that show.
I love that show.
I love it too, but you know, there was one episode that involved gratuitous baby torture that I could not stomach and had to not watch it anymore.
Then do not watch at any time in your life Korean. I think it's Korean or
You can
Japanese.
stop with the word
No, Chinese
Korean.
film called Dumplings.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. There's no reason for me to watch Korean horror films. I can
That
tell
is
you
one of
right
the
now.
most disturbing horror films I've ever seen. Was Dumplings. Yes. Oh, it's like Audition.
Okay, we can stop. We can stop talking about it.
But a little bit more in your face.
Jeez. How can you be more in your face than Audition? That movie is the worst thing I have ever seen.
Yeah, when Rob Zombie says it's the creepiest film he's ever watched. Hey, that's high praise.
Now that is a guy's movies that I wish I liked and just do not. I do not like his movies.
Yeah, I saw A House of a Thousand Corpses and wasn't really particularly taken with it.
Oh, I hated that thing. I actually walked out of it. I couldn't stand
The
watching
quality
it.
level of it reminded me of the 70s, of The Food of the Gods.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of what he was going for, but I mean, I just couldn't do it.
So you started off in the theater with that one and left?
I did. Yep. I was really excited about it, to be honest, and yeah, I was sorely let down. I love horror movies. I love them. But I think I need more I don't know, joy. If that's a strange word to use for horror movies, but that's the word I'm going to use.
So dark and creepy movies, not so much you.
You know what? If they're really well done, like a Guillermo del Toro horror film, like really good creepy, I can totally get behind. Listen,
Excuse me.
Have you guys seen his movie, The Orphanage?
No, I think
didn't he just produce that?
That came out years ago.
Yeah, but he didn't make it, did he?
Did he make it?
I thought he just produced it.
He might have produced it, but it has, his fingerprints all over it.
Oh, did it? I've never seen it. I just didn't.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoy his horror films.
I also enjoyed The Awakening.
I don't think I know what that is.
It's a woman, I think, about sort of like Agatha Christie era. She's a professional debunker, and she goes to this boys' school in England because they're having some odd things happen.
I believe I have seen that movie.
I love how much we talk about movies in a podcast.
Epic movie discussion time.
Right. About we're all cartoonists, and all we do is talk about movies.
Well, I was teaching a cartoon class earlier today, and I was talking about the Japanese emotion iconic icons that are iconography that's slowly being adapted into U.S. culture, and how some of the symbolism is gaining faster than other parts of the symbolism.
Stuff like sweat drops and
Stuff like sweat drops is coming in a lot faster than, say, the Psy mushroom and or gloom lines. Gloom lines are starting to take hold, but they're not very big.
Where do you teach comics? Where do you teach cartooning?
I teach it online.
Oh,
I would imagine that side balloons aren't catching on, mainly because they're the Japanese variation of the bumps on the head, which I think have been mostly obsolete for a good 10 years at least.
And then there's don't know how many of you guys watch anime, but there's certain expressions that use different types of icons of eyes and mouths that in American it reads differently to American eyes, because the Japanese, they tend to be more reserved and less outgoing in their conversation or in their emotional discussion. So anything that is over the top with expression is interpreted rather than as a trait of the character, which is what Americans do, because that's just how he is. It's seen almost as an instant emotion. And so some of these visual cues are not translating as quickly. But yes, though I do. There's some other professionals who don't draw as well as we do, and I do one-on-one sessions with them. They have me on like a little monthly retainer, and we schedule up sessions once or twice a month.
that's cool. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
I would love to see one of those.
What? You don't want to pay for one of those?
Oh, I would love to see one. That would be very interesting.
Maybe I should record one of my sessions next time. But they're one-on-one sessions. Because
They're what?
they're one-on-one. They're not like a classroom thing. It's these people are paying me for their individual time.
I see. It's not like a... I got you.
Yeah, because different people have different things. Like there's this one guy, he really wants to know how to do foreshortening with hands, and we do a lot of practice on that. And this other gal, she's really quick with... and she does a lot of homework, whereas the other guy, he always fails to do his homework. And sometimes the homework is nothing more than watching a couple of episodes of a particular anime, or going and reading up a couple weeks worth on a particular web topic. Like if you haven't been reading El Gunish Shive.
Uh-huh.
That is the way he does facial expressions with his eyes and he's does a great job of using Japanese iconography and Japanese expression. And the amount of change that's happened in that cartoon over the years and how much he's improved is just phenomenal.
Finally.
But and so she'll be, she was doing multiple drawings from El Gunishive, or she'll stop the tape or the anime that she's watching and do some practice sketches. But she never can show me how she's applying it to her work. Whereas one of my other students, one of the things he does is, hey, I took what we learned last week and I did it on this project. Take a look at this. So that's always a lot of fun. I think I am done cleaning up this guy. Oh, I'm still not on screen sharing. You just been seeing the top of my head. Sorry, there we go. So this is the monster from the Relic, which, if you haven't seen it, fairly decent monster movie. Only uses CGI in a few places. Most of it is done with traditional, and you don't see a lot of the monster. The reveal is kind of held back a bit.
Hey, so
Yeah.
a question for you. I mean,
Sure.
you other guys can jump in too, but I'm working on a longer story comic for an anthology, and
Okay.
It's I know what I want to do with it, but I'm not even sure how to start the thing because I'm so used to doing 3 or 6 panel, but this particular story or the anthology's pages, like it's an 8.5 by 11 size. Any tips on transitioning or slightly modifying
To a larger story, just storytelling wise, or
more like I mean, I know what I need to do, but like I was never big on reading the actual like comic books. You know, I was so I'm familiar with the format and like I can read your strip and other like full page, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to start, like because it's in for 3 panel strips, intro, setup, punchline, kind of thing.
right.
And so now I'm having a whole page to try and get a couple points across, but it's almost now like I have too much freedom.
For me, I focus on the initial beats of the story and how the story should play out and how long I want that to be, and I use classical story structure. And then I make sure that every single page kind of tells a story so that there's an end So you could stop because basically I'm all I'm doing is drawing a comic book that you read literally half a page at a time over the span of several months.
Yeah.
Is what I do. And so I make sure that at the end of every strip there's a semi-resolution, and then at the end of every page there's a resolution, and then at the end of every story there's a resolution, so that they all feed into each other. At least I try to do that, because if somebody just stumbles onto my comic and reads it just picks one up, I want there to at least to be a kind of a start and an end, and it's kind of hard to do that when you're in the middle of a story. But I try to end with either some kind of a cliffhanger or some kind of a. Rarely do I go for the gag, but sometimes I do gags. Now, if you're just doing an anthology where is it printed or is it?
Yeah, it's going to be a printed. It's
So you're not releasing it online in
No.
chunks. So you don't really have to worry so much about that. Thank goodness. I do now. Do you write in advance with Dust Pony Mafia?
Usually, I at least I storyboard it out normally. So like when I
Okay.
for instance, my current story arc, I had a bullet pointed list of like an outline that I wanted to do. And so like here's the major points that this will lead to this, this will lead to this. Here's sub points underneath it. And then when I'm actually working on my strips for it, I have that, reference guide, but then I storyboard it out and do thumbnails in my sketchbook before I do my strip, day to day. But I don't have like an actual, here's the transcript for this
Right.
page.
You work very similar to the way I work. I do pretty much the same thing. If you guys can look at my screen, so I will write. This is about as much of a script as I ever do in advance. Oh God, let me turn off all this stuff. So I'll do this, which is just basically the page A and B, because I cut the pages up. What I basically want to happen on those pages, and then the resolution by the end of that particular part of the story. And then I will go ahead and let me turn dialogue off. I will place that piece so I know, oh yeah, that's where that's going to happen, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will actually sometimes, depending on time, I will make thumbnails like with pencil and paper. Okay, especially if I have a more challenging layout. And then I write all the dialogue I write once I start drawing. I actually write dialogue usually first so I can plot out where I want to put panels, and then I draw into those panels. Because I break a cardinal rule of dialogue in comic books. I put my word bubbles on top of people all the time, which is a big no-no.
Yep.
Do not cover people with word bubbles, but I do it like all the time. I actually have fun with it. I try to figure out new and interesting ways to cover people up with word bubbles.
There's a artist that does a wonderful job of telling a story in one page that's part of a longer story. His name is Scott Baldwin. Check out one of his best pieces, which is called Space Trawler.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God, yeah. Space Trawler is amazing. That guy makes me so upset. that I am not him.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wish I could tell a story like that guy.
He's absolutely very superb at it.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's a really sweet guy too.
Oh, you've had a chance to meet him?
Oh yeah, we're pretty good friends.
Oh, that's great. You should tell him I think he's amazing.
Okay.
He's definitely one of my top 5 cartoonists of all time. I love that guy's work.
Yeah, I met him back when he was doing Bruno,
Ah.
and he kind of fell off the map for a little while because he did a strip called Little D about this little girl that was got lost in the woods, wouldn't talk, and got adopted kind of by a vulture and a bear and a dog.
I don't think I ever even heard of that one.
I don't think
Oh,
I've
little-
ever seen that.
Fantastic. And anyway, Penguin liked his strip so much that he went back in and spent, I think, about a year or so. And now it is a Penguin book. He did a Penguin book
Oh, wow.
of Little D. So then he did a strip called Anagalactic. But people kept coming back to him saying, hey, dude, Space Trawler. Can't get enough of Space Trawler. So he's relaunched Space Trawler, and there's a new storyline coming out that you can that he's
Oh, no way. That's great.
yeah.
Didn't everybody
I
die
always-
in that, though?
No, not everybody died. There was a lot of death, but not everybody died.
I mean, it opens up with the main alien sending his condolences to all the family.
Now, Bill, don't spoil things for people.
He does in the first week.
Oh, and he also did another strip before Anagalactic, which was about this bunch of misfits on a spaceship being sent out to do a first contact thing, but due to the politics involved, it turns out that they found out that they're part of that it's a one-way suicide death mission, because the alien said, we're going to kill you if you show up. But their drive only goes one way, and I won't spoil it from you from there, but was a pretty fun film. Or not fun film, but strip. But after doing that one and Anagalactic, he decided to go back to Space Trawler.
Well, that's good news. Yeah, I have only seen his Space Trawler work.
8:30.
It is one of my favorite comics.
Yeah, I'd supported him on both of his Kickstarters for that.
So, Brett, are you doing for this anthology? Are you doing a long form Dust Bunny Mafia story? Then is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm
Well, that
using
sounds
some
really
of the
cool.
characters. The theme of the anthology is forgotten histories, and it can be actual history or fictional history. And so I'm using some concept or some of my characters, but the anthology is in black and white. So I'm going to be doing a couple of my some of the non-major players. Like I'm only referencing a couple of my Dust Bunnies and using, like I had a weasel that showed up back in
Sure.
April, and a lot of people really seem to like that character. And I guess the main plot of the story is going to be around a associate of the Crows who kind of goes into witness protection per se, and so they find a hitman for him. But I'm going to try and do a short, long form comic. It's 2 to 5 pages is the parameters. So I don't have a ton of space. But essentially it's going to be the hitman finding the deviant and confronting him. And then there's going to be a news story afterwards, which references an old mobster, real life mobster scenario.
Oh, cool.
So there was in like the, I want to say 30s or so, there was a hitman turned informant that the night before his trial, where he was going to try and rat out his boss and a bunch of other people, he fell off, he quote unquote fell off out of his hotel room where he was being guarded by police. And so they called, the newspapers were saying the canary that could sing but couldn't fly.
Oh, jeez.
And this was actual, this is real mobster stuff. And so I'm going to...
Wait, so please tell me that it's a canary, because that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to do a canary as the
That is the
character.
coolest.
So
That makes
but yeah, so that's the story, and I just with my characters, and then I'm going to use the weasel confronting the canary, talking about the actual history as like, some myth, but it's all based in reality.
That sounds great.
Now I just have a month to finish it. So
5 pages though, right? That's not too bad.
yeah, it's not too bad. But and
Although,
I know
you don't draw. You actually construct your pages using the pen tool and stuff, right?
yeah, I mean I draw occasionally, and it won't
But
be
you just don't like like when I work in Illustrator, I just freehand it and
No,
doing it the way you do it. It blows my mind.
well, thank you. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, we differ on that point.
But you find it easier to do it that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And until I get the desire to break out the tablet again and actually start from scratch.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I got to put kids to bed, and it is after 8:30.
Yep.
I am going to say goodbye, and I believe if I say goodbye, everybody has to say goodbye. So I hate to be that dude.
Okay.
That's cool.
Well, it looks like we already lost Pat.
Yeah, we lost him like half an hour ago.
Oh, jeez. So this has been Epic Sketch Time for October 4th, 2016. We will be back next week. My name is James Stowe, and thank you very much for watching us draw and talk about movies and stuff. We'll see you next week. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.